As we go into the SFWA election season, that's right, we are watching as they're having like a struggle session in real time to like even keep the club going. Very funny stuff, which I am just laughing all over about. Now, we reported last week on how the only person running for the secretary of the club, in a club of writers, which is funny, backed out immediately, and then an activist took his place to be a write-in, and then the three presidential candidates for SFWA are a bunch of activists and they're all just clout goblins seeking clout in this spiraling organization that does nothing for authors, does nothing for author businesses. Now, if you don't even know what SFWA is because you're just like, what the hell? I just watch you, John. What is this? It's the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers Association. Now, they started back in the day as like a writers guild, kind of like a semi-union to try to talk to publishers, because publishers in science fiction were notorious for just bad contracts that screwed writers. And big name authors actually formed it together to try to help everybody else. It was a very nice thing to start. Over the years, it's dwindled because it's the internet age, so contracts are pretty standard now. The club really has no use. And so it's a bunch of just woke weirdos, these like blue-haired ladies in mobility scooters going around conventions pretending like they are successful authors when they've really sold like $500 worth of fiction in their lives. And that's what it is now. And so it's an online clout club. You get access to a forum. I have access to it, even though they've banned me because of some nice people in the SFWA club who let me see what they've got going on over there. It's mostly boring stuff of people like being like, how do I make money? And nobody knows any answer, right? And so this is it. And during this, the science fiction magazines are collapsing in real time. These short fiction markets that actually prop these people up are having a lot of trouble, and they're flipping out about AI, which we'll get into in a moment too. Oh my gosh, I'm having too much fun today in science fiction. If you're new to the channel, my name's John Delarose, the most trusted name in science fiction fandom, and we have been building an alternative fandom here, which is a lot of fun because mainstream publishing is just so awful. It really is. We covered yesterday about just like how mainstream publishing is just this terrible identity politics place, and they pretend it's not. They still like haven't woken up to it, and that's why those publishing establishments are dying. More people are just buying indies. If you go to the Amazon charts in any science fiction category, it's a bunch of indie self-published authors every single time. Now, we've been up on those charts multiple times, and this is my series right here, The Aritian War. If you're a fan of like old Babylon 5 from like the 90s, that was really my inspiration here. I created a space opera world, and this is about a spy from Earth who goes and inserts himself on an alien Aritian warship to try to bring back information to Earth about their technical capabilities while the war is brewing and Earth seems like they're lost for hope for any kind of survival in this. It's a lot of fun, and the trilogy is fantastic. Get the whole trilogy. You'll love how it builds up, and it is on ebook, print, and audio for you guys. And on top of this, I'm almost finished. I'm probably like going to finish up in the next couple weeks a spin-off series that comes out of this. The first chapter is like kind of like an epilogue that is going to make a lot of fans happy who have read this before. And then it spins out a new space exploration series because I'm really annoyed with the way Star Trek's gone in recent years. And so I'm just going to make my own, kind of Planet of the Week adventure sort of thing with an awesome crew, great characters, and I can't wait to get that to you. I'm going to wait until I finish a whole trilogy to release it because it's better that way. But the first book is going to be done very shortly, and our early readers will get access to that. So thank you guys for checking this out. It's in the description below, and I appreciate all the readers. You guys have given us a great few months here. And thank you so much again. So SFWA is struggling, the big struggle session here, as recent resignations prove to us how much we've come to depend on our staff. And nobody's basically what's happening is nobody's volunteering for the club anymore. Most people have checked out who have done anything. They realize it's just a clout goblin, evil place that just doesn't do any good for authors. I mean, people approach me. Authors, they don't want me to mention their names or anything, but they're always like, they're frustrated with this stuff because they've seen me telling the truth for years. Of course, for a while it was like, oh, it's just how JDA is just, he's a rabble rouser, right? But I just tell the truth, and it's not really rabble rousing. And these people get really mad about that. And so since I've told the truth for so long about what's going on in science fiction fandom and science fiction publishing, a lot of people who were like just keeping quiet and the centrists are now actually talking to me about what's going on in these structures. And this is a warning to all of you in science fiction. Like, I've got people in SFWA, I've got people in the Codex Writers Group, I've got people in the Worldcon committees, I've got people in Baen Books. All of you better watch out. But honestly, we're going to promote the good science fiction that's out there and just call out the identity politics like we always do and the bad behavior. So I mean, it's we're here to influence science fiction for good. And so SFWA's dying is what it comes down to. And this is came out as an email from their interim president, who's not even running for office as this goes along, because he knows it's such a shit show that there's going to be no reason to be a part of this. And he says, while highlighting flaws to the structure of our organization, big flaws, SFWA must change as it rebuilds. Now, I've seen a lot of talk about this. They have no idea what they want it to change to, and they have no idea what they want the club to actually do. There's a lot of talk over on Blue Sky, the liberal echo chamber, by authors being like, SFWA really needs to get a focus and a mission. It's like, yeah, no duh. But what? And if it's not helping authors sell, there's kind of no point to it in this environment. You can get online forums. You can come into my Discord server, and we can talk about books and how to write and stuff like that. And you'll get more value out of that, which is free, than paying $100 to get in the SFWA forum for sure. I welcome all authors. I like authors. To help guide in this, we're bringing in Russell Davis. Not Russell Davies, from Russell Davis, in a transitional leadership position. He knows SFWA well, understands the corporate structure, and is already getting up to speed. At last week's board meeting, we discussed new formats for the Nebula Conference, which will serve both members and non-members without burning out volunteers or staff. So that's their award ceremony. It's a circle jerk where they give themselves awards, and then they make a big deal out of it. They have conferences, and they do panels. Where they talked with each other about how they did one on how Tolkien's racist for orcs a couple years ago. They canceled Mercedes Lackey because of her comments. It's really a shit show as well. Our yearly event has taken many forms throughout the years, and we want to focus this year on a celebration of everything SFWA has accomplished over these past 60 years. None of these details are nailed down yet, but it will likely be a significant change from the Nebulas in recent years. So that means they're going to be cutting back massively, and it's not going to be the event it used to be because nobody wants to do it, and they're not getting enough support for it, just like everything else they're doing. This is a collapse in real time. It's crazy. If the Nebula Awards get gutted, this is a big deal, guys. We're focusing on the Midwest, and we'll have more to share as soon as possible. For now, we have finalized the confidentiality policy. This is a big deal because apparently they had these NDAs in place where they'd go at volunteers because if volunteers would speak out about just the bad conditions they were dealing with, and they'd threaten them. Very funny. It's back from the lawyer, and the next step is to vote both on this and corresponding OPPM changes so we can start rolling it out. So translation here, guys. They're working on all these minutia things that have to do with rules of the organization that have just been piled on for years. And they're not actually focusing on helping writers and making the club actually useful for anybody still. So it's going to circle the drain even more, and it's very, very funny to watch. Now, the next item is really, really funny as well, which is Uncanny Magazine. I made another video a couple weeks ago about how Clark's World was just inundated with AI stories for submissions. And what's happening is all these people want to join SFWA, think that they can just submit AI stories, maybe get in, maybe get a paycheck, because you can't really write stories fast enough and get them all out there to all these magazines to make a career at this point. So they figure, okay, I'll just do 20 AI stories, throw them all out there, see if one of them sticks, and maybe I'll get my clout and get my name out there, right? So they're getting a lot of submissions like that. Now, all these people are flipping out about AI, saying it's terrible, it takes took our jobs. But it's really funny to me because they're complaining about this, and really, the main problem with AI and AI stories is they're not very good. And if you've ever made an AI story, I definitely have, just for funsies. I don't publish them, but I do it just for my own entertainment. And they all end up sucking. I mean, they're just poorly written. They don't work, and so it's pretty obvious. Now, they're struggling with this with their slush readers because like a lot of the people who actually submit to these magazines are not actually better writers than AI, and that's why they're all flipping out about it because AI is bad and they're worse. And that's why these magazines are failing at a spectacular level. Now, Uncanny Magazine's one of the worst out there. They're like the wokest of the woke. They've been pushing that social agenda crap since at least 2014. It's been obnoxious, and they are getting flooded with AI submissions worse than ever. They say their last submission period they had over 1,000 AI written stories. Wow, that's a lot to sift through. And so now they're doing a follow-up. So since AI posts are still rolling, here's some hopefully final clarifications. Uncanny hasn't rejected a story because we suspected AI use. These stories were rejected for the usual reasons we would pass on a story. That's pretty funny. 2, we haven't banned any submitters as of yet for AI use. We probably need something like, I totally used AI for you stories, you suckers, for that to happen. Pretty funny right there. I don't know. I've never submitted to them, but I'm sure I'm banned because I'm so much better than everybody who writes there. But whatever. We are spotting suspected AI use because we have years of experience reading submissions. It's not that hard. I mean, if you've ever just read AI for 5 seconds, you should be able to see it. And they stick out. They do stick out because they are that stupid. And that's why I don't understand why all these people are that afraid of it, because they do stick out. It is bad writing. Like it's not going to bother you. We are getting a much larger volume of submissions than a couple years ago. That's also because there's less markets because all these magazines are dying, right? Fantasy and science fiction has still not published anything this year. These are all going by the wayside. These are all dinosaurs. And Uncanny Magazine survives basically through Kickstarter at this point. We'll see how much longer people still buy these things. 4, AI submissions aren't anywhere near Uncanny's biggest problems. Yeah, they're not. Those remain the financial impact of Amazon changes and the disintegration of social media. Okay. So this is interesting. So a lot of these companies are blaming Amazon for not selling anymore because Amazon had it to where you could set up subscriptions for these magazines before and then just not worry about it. Well, now they don't do that. They kind of got rid of that for magazines. And they did because a lot of magazines just weren't coming out with content. And so because they're just failing. And so Amazon just knocked that. And not enough people actually care about Uncanny Magazine to go search for Uncanny Magazine and just buy it. Or go to their own website and buy a subscription from them directly. That's the thing. So that's not Amazon's fault. It's your fault for having a crappy magazine nobody wants. And then the disintegration of social media. I don't know what they're talking about because my social media is rolling. I'm getting better engagement than ever before, better marketing than ever before. But all these people made like this big stink about leaving Twitter and bifurcating everything. And it makes it hard for the idiots who are leaving the biggest platforms and not using the biggest platforms. That's why I'm here on YouTube, doing wonderfully, and my book sales are better than ever. Twitter, same thing, better than ever. I'm on Gab because I like it over there. It's a good free speech platform. And I've got a great Discord server of a bunch of science fiction people who are interested. That's how social media works. I don't know. I don't want to give Uncanny Magazine too much help with their business because they deserve to fail. But my gosh, lots of complaints. And as you can see, they're failing. SIF was failing. The establishment science fiction is on its way out. And it's all because they went woke and focused on the wrong things, and they don't focus on fun science fiction. We do, my friends. I have the funnest science fiction guaranteed. It's good stuff. This is I try to bring it back to old styles. That's what I like. And so I hope you like it too. And love this trilogy, and I hope you'll love it as well. It's in the description below. Please grab that, ebook, print, or audio, like I said. Hit the like and subscribe button, my friends. Join us here as we talk about science fiction and all things. And let me know what you think about this in the comments. Are you laughing as much as I am about these establishment science fiction agencies just dying? It's amazing.